winter is coming and... Whew. The Dragon and the Wolf season finale for season 7 of Game of Thrones, and yeah, that is a heck of a way to close out the season. There was a lot that went out on in this thing, and frankly, I am not going to remember to talk about everything that I want to, because there were obviously a ton of big moments. I'll get to those, but there were a lot of small moments that I loved and I treasured, and I would love to name all of them, and I'm going to forget some. Let's get rambling. This is not going to be spoiler free. I mean, it's the season finale. Of course I'm going to talk spoilers, but there's so many great little moments and reunions between characters that I really loved. I really loved Brienne and the Hound. First of all, she's only like an inch shorter than him. I knew she was tall, but wah. And then just this sort of them talking about Arya, there was this air of, you know what it was like? It was like divorced parents who don't get along but like are still proud of the kid they raised. That was the feel I got of them talking about Arya, and I loved that. It was like this little bonding moment between them, and it was really awesome. And you know, Podrick's back and he gets his moment with Tyrion, which is immediately undercut by Bronn. I love Bronn so much. And that meeting in that pit, the dragon pit, the tension in that room, holy crap. Again, nicely cut by Euron trying to make it about him, and nobody standing for it. Not even Cersei. Cersei's like, I would rather hear from the brother who I hate possibly more than anyone else on the planet than from you. But they really had me wondering, how is this going to go out? Because, you know, there's Cersei holding her around like, I'm not dealing with you people. And then there's a dead man lunging at her. How cool would it have been if the Hound just hadn't quite pulled back on the chain early enough and it had just gotten to her? Just saying. But, you know, that whole thing and her reaction, very genuine to that. And, man, that was the thing with Cersei, is that she really sold every step of this thing. She sold I'm putting my foot down. She sold the shock of it. Then she sold, you know, the whole, you know, I am bitter and spiteful enough that if you're not going to do this the way I say we should do it, that I'm not going to help you. And then her scene with Tyrion, which was a great scene, and both of them just back and forth at each other. You could feel just the visceral hatred between the two of them. And then she actually sold the idea that she was going to actively help, to the point that Jaime even believed it. And I bought into it. I really did think that, look, until the Army of the Dead is dealt with, as soon as that's dealt with, she's going to be a massive problem, but she's going to help here. And then you never disappoint, Cersei. Actually, I take that back. You disappoint me every time, but in the best kind of way. Like, I think maybe there's a better nature to this character. Nope. Fool. What a fool I was for even entertaining that notion for a hot minute. And props to Jaime calling her bluff, because I really did think that she was going to have the Mountain kill him. And man, the guts for him to call that bluff and walk away. Wow. I don't know where he goes from here, but wow. And you know, there were a number of characters who I've been iffy on their journey, but who had wonderful payoffs here. One of them, Theon. I've spoken before about how gratuitous I thought some of the abuse towards Theon is, and I think it may still have been slightly overdone, but I gotta tell you, he has become so compelling as a character because we've seen him go through so much. We absolutely understand when he makes a decision that we don't want him to make. You can't fault him. You absolutely get why he abandoned Yara, why he's so cowardly. But then for him to stand up to that guy and he's just taking these punches and these beatings and just being told to stay down, and he won't. Like, for finally, I'm not staying down. I'm gonna get up, and this is gonna hurt, but I've suffered before, and I'll keep suffering. And then the guy tries to knee him in the balls. That's gotta be the first time he was happy and he gets this grin. It's like, I got nothing there. That's your best move, and it doesn't work on me. Boom. Oh, so I've really enjoyed where Theon's journey has led him as a character. I find him insanely compelling at this point. But you want to talk about a character. I used to not stand Like back 3 years ago, maybe a little more, she was on my worst characters list. She wouldn't come near it now. Sansa. That scene, her, Arya, all those people, and the only one who doesn't know how screwed he is Littlefinger. He's the only one in that room who doesn't get it. And I've never seen Littlefinger on the back foot before. I mean, there were some times where I thought maybe he hasn't orchestrated this, maybe he's working on the fly. So I don't think he always had everything planned to a meticulous level, but he always seemed prepared to roll with whatever happened. But then this happened, and he had not counted on it. He really overestimated his ability to manipulate Sansa. And I think she had his number the instant he abandoned her to Ramsay. Once that happened, but she sold the vulnerability still so that he thought he could control her again. And I was afraid he'd be able to. But when she's reading out the charges and looking at Arya, then just turns, Lord Baelish. I'm like, I know where this is going, and I love it. Let this moment drag out. Let it last, and they let it last. They let the moment play. Let him flounder, and let her spit his own words, his own advice back at him. And then Arya did the thing that I said I wanted to happen, and I didn't think it was going to happen. She killed him with that blade. Yes! Oh, that was so good. And Bran finally proved useful in that scene. Actually, Bran proved useful a little bit. He proved useful in that scene. I liked his scene with Sam, where it gets laid out explicitly for anyone who hadn't gotten it, and also just to get the details out of the way, exactly what Jon's connection to the Targaryens is. And Sam's face, oh my God, face, and also the understanding that he was able to bring to that. So it wasn't just a case of, oh my God, how did I not find this out before? But he actually brought his own information, imparting the fact that he's not a bastard. He's legitimate heir. And so all of that, and then of course, we've got the wall. Not anymore. It's gone now. I mean, thank you for, after teasing us Zombie Dragon, giving us Zombie Dragon, not making us wait a year. Because, I mean, the point, wall came down. That's a good sort of place to stop. And because that is the moment that changes everything. The wall is gone. And I have been afraid that they had teased us with the Zombie Dragon. We weren't going to get the Zombie Dragon until next season. So thank you for not doing that to us. I have to ask, Did Tormund die when the wall came down? I mean, they didn't do a very good job of establishing where he was on the wall when it came down. And I want to say he lived because we've gotten to the point where the show kind of is being more explicit about when characters die and how. But that was a huge chunk of the wall. And I don't know if he was heading in the right direction to be on the part that's still standing. If he is alive, I wish they had just one shot of him looking down at the army as it moved through the gap or something. Because otherwise, I'm going to be left wondering until we pick up again. Or until, news of him being on set when the next season starts shooting. Whatever happens first. So there's all that, and just there's so much intensity in this episode. There's emotional intensity. There's visceral intensity. There's just all over the place. It is terrific. And again, just talking little moments, how interested Qyburn looked when he saw that undead pop out of that box. I'm like, that's not good. Anything that interests that man that much, that is not good. Or just the moment the Hound had, facing off against the mountain. Just all these tiny little things, these great little moments, these little interactions, these little reunions between characters. There's almost nothing I don't like about this episode, except one thing. And I remember thinking as the moment was coming, just no. And then they did it, and that is, look, this is a show where we have actual on purpose incest. Do we need to have accidental incest? Really? I mean, I know I was one of the few people who wasn't like, oh, look at the vibe between Jon and Dany. And it's not that I didn't see it. It's just that I'd hoped it was going to just be a vibe that never played out. But there's something not only just skeevy, but cheaply manipulative about the fact that we as an audience find out that they are blood related at the same time as that as them, getting busy. And I just didn't care for it. I mean, well, we'll see how the consequences play out. I'm given some of the stuff that has happened with, say, Sansa and Theon, and things that I did not like before ultimately paying off in good ways, I'm reserving a certain level of judgment on this because I want to see how it plays out, because the show has shown me that sometimes it does something that maybe isn't great, but it's paying off later. Now, it doesn't always, because we had the weird, was it consensual, was it not, scene that I still don't think they meant it to, but it came off as rape at Joffrey's tomb that happened between Cersei and Jaime, and that never led to anything. So we've seen them do things before that feel like they should mean anything and then don't. So I don't have total faith, unwavering, in the show, but certainly in this episode and this season in general, they have done a very good job of paying off, either dangling plot threads or things that happened a long time ago that maybe I didn't even care about at the time or didn't like at the time, but ultimately led to something interesting. So while this is the thing I don't like about this episode, because I think it's cheap and a little skeevy and kind of manipulative of the audience, I am reserving some level of judgment because maybe it'll lead to something interesting. I don't know. But for right now, that's my one reservation. And ultimately, while I do legitimately not like that moment, it's pretty much the only moment. Like everything else about this, man, that was great. That was such a great way to close out this season, and it just leaves me just going, yeah! Why do we have to wait so long for the last chunk of these episodes? Man! So season finale of season 7 of Game of Thrones. What did you think about this sucker? Whatever it was, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.